welcome to another episode of the Type 1 Lifting Podcast. I have a very good friend. Well, I consider you a friend. So a very good friend that I've known for a while, and he actually owns a gym called CrossFit Prosperity down up in Massachusetts in Norwood. This is Craig Robertson. How you doing?
I'm good, Tom. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you for doing this.
Yeah.
I'm glad I went back to your gym a couple weeks ago. Granted, my dad passed away and he was in the ICU, and that's the reason why I was up there. But your gym is probably one of the sickest gyms I've seen and I've been
Thank you.
to.
Yeah.
Number one is CrossFit East Nashville, because that thing's like a football, like three football fields
Yeah.
together. So if you haven't seen it, but yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about your experience in CrossFit and how you started the gym and everything. So with all that, how did you get involved with CrossFit?
So I started working out. Well, I mean, I started playing sports when I was, old enough to walk. I remember my sister signing up to play soccer when I was 4 years old and crying all the way home because they wouldn't let me sign up yet because I wasn't old enough. Um, and then she went on to be more of a school type, and I went on to be the actual athlete in the family, I guess.
Mhm.
Um, so I started working out when I was maybe about 15. I think maybe like 3 months short of my 16th birthday. My mom lied about my age so I could work out without her there.
Mhm.
You had to be 16 to be in the gym by yourself. Um, so I started working out, started kind of seeing the way it can change your body and kind of the whole, the work you put in is actually what you get out with working out, which I thought
Mhm.
was pretty cool. I kind of fell in love with that there and decided that was kind of what I wanted to do the rest of my life. So I figured that out pretty early. I always expected it to be more of like an LA Fitness, big box type gym kind of thing. So I went to school for exercise science, fitness club administration, took a couple classes on that stuff. And then I did an internship at a big box gym, and it was awful. It was just not at all what I wanted to do. I mean, I was personal training people this whole time, right? I got my personal training certification, I think a week after I turned 18.
Mhm.
Worked at GNC, did the gym guy thing. Um, but yeah, just that the whole kind of predatory nature of big box gyms just really turned me off to the whole thing. The whole I want to sign up a bunch of people and hope they never work out.
Mhm.
Really, for me, I really liked helping people and actually getting them to kind of see why I like going to the gym and why I fell in love with it. So I kind of fell out of it for a while. I was still personal training on the side, but I ended up going to work construction for a little while. I worked for my dad's company, and I don't know if anybody's listening that's ever worked for their father's company. He likes you, but nobody else does. Um, so I was kind of the guy that got the short end of the stick a lot, up on the 30-foot ladders on top of the van, in the crawl spaces, all that. And I was
Mhm.
like, this cannot be what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Um, so I was still personal training. They opened up a CrossFit gym in the back of the gym that I was working at. This was back in like end of 2010, beginning of 2011.
Wow, that's back in the day. Yeah.
So early CrossFit, yeah. Um, and I already worked out all the time. I mean, I was never like a big person, so but I lifted a lot, and I had a good idea of what I was doing. So the guy's like, "Hey, come back and try CrossFit." And I'm like, "I'm good. I don't need you to show me how to work out. Like I have a pretty good handle on it." And then I see a couple guys like walking around back there. I'm like, those guys are pretty jacked back there. Like they're doing something right.
Mhm.
The guy stayed on me a little while, got me to finally go back. He's like, "I'll give you a free week." I'm like, "All right, I'll try it." So I went back, and keep in mind, I was 23 at the time. I thought I was in really good shape. My first workout was Fight Gone Bad. Um,
Oh.
yeah, so this was back when, I mean, CrossFit, you've been to a bunch of CrossFit gyms, right? So
Mhm.
back then, CrossFit gyms had whatever equipment they could kind of find on Craigslist. So we had like 3 barbells, 2 rowers, like 5 wall balls. Um, so we had to split it up and start at different stations. And the guy goes, "All right, so you're going to start on the rower. You're going to do a minute of as many calories as you can. Then you're going to come off the rower. You're going to do a minute of as many wall balls as you can." And having never done that style of workout, I'm like, okay, a minute. I'm going to go as hard as I can for a minute, not knowing that there are 16 more minutes of this to go.
Mhm.
Right? So I did something like 27 calories or something like that in the first minute, just like completely just sent it. And then got to the wall ball, maybe 20 wall balls, and then got to the box, and I couldn't leave the ground.
Mm-hmm.
like just completely smoked. And I'm only 2.5 minutes in. I'm like, oh my God, what is this?
Yep.
Ended up, yeah, I think I scored. If you've done enough fight gone bads, right? I scored like 183 or something. I don't know. I like remember that number. I think I got like 100 the first round and then like 40 the next round.
Yep. Yep.
Um, so then there's this woman in the gym that I had used to work out with. She was like in her 50s. She was a personal trainer at the big box side of it that I worked at. And she got 230, 240, something like that. And this is a woman that's close to 60, and I'm a 23-year-old former athlete thinking that I was in good shape.
Yep.
Like, all right, I'm coming back tomorrow. I'm gonna beat this woman at whatever it is. Next day, Fran. So I got my ass kicked twice by this older woman. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sign up for this. I'm going to just keep training at it. I'm going to get good at it. Come to find out, that woman went to the games 5 times as a master's athlete. So obviously a very fit individual.
Yeah.
But I just kind of, anything that exposed that many holes in what I was doing for fitness, I thought had to be the right thing to do. So I just got into that, started going hard for it. I started like back then you could be pretty good if you were somewhat athletic, right? Like
Yeah.
there weren't a lot of Matt Fraziers around back then. There was Rich Froning, which he was, this phenomenal freak that came in and just smoked everybody day one. But you had like the Jeremy Kinnicks and guys like that started overweight, couldn't even do a pull-up and then went to the games.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it is now where you're 19 years old and have 9 years of experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was one of the better guys at the gym, just being an athlete and fairly strong. So obviously it's fun to be good at stuff. So got super into it there, started training other people. And then I actually ended up moving out to California for about a year. And then I trained out in Los Angeles, and it was really fun. So on the way out there, I kind of did a box tour. So like we drove down the East Coast. I went to a gym in pretty much every single state all the way out to California.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which it helped too because I kind of took what I liked from all the gyms. And I put a lot of that into when I started my own gym. I was like, all right, what did I see at these gyms that was really cool? Like, what did I kind of not care for? That kind of thing. And then I got into coaching out in California. I ended up becoming a head coach of a gym out there. I got really into programming, writing workouts for other people. Being in like Southern California at the kind of start of CrossFit was a real culture shock to being one of the better people in Bridgewater, Massachusetts, though. I ended up going to Valley CrossFit, and at the time they had 3 girls in the games. 2 of them were podium athletes, and they had a couple guys that were up and comers that ended up going to the games too. So the workouts that I used to be, kind of crushing people out here, I go out there and they're doing WODs with my max. Like, oh, okay, this is, again, here I am, not as good as I once thought I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I ended up getting super into it out there, did a bunch of courses. I got fortunate. I was able to take like the Oli course with Mike Bergner and do the mobility course. Like,
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah.
Right? So I got to kind of learn from a lot of the OGs. And then I tried to open up a gym out there, but the zoning laws are insane in Los Angeles. Like a lot of kind of bureaucracy, give us a bunch of money and we'll think about letting you open a gym 6 months to a year from now. So my family's here in Massachusetts, so I decided to come back, worked at a gym out here for a little while to get myself situated and then put my life into my own gym.
Nice. So we actually have a little bit of something in common. So we've been a trainer at a big box gym, and we've seen how, a lot of people just like, they just want, it's like all money, just all about the money, and that's it. Like I've had a couple clients of mine that have lost like 60 plus pounds, working out there. But I realized like half these, like the owners, they just don't care. They just see every quarter or every month. They're like, okay, where do I need to make more money? And it's insane because the gym that I was training at in Georgia, it was the most used gym out of the whole company. And people were flying in and like they had no idea what they were doing. And they're always trying to sell like personal training stuff.
Yeah.
And they didn't want them to show up. And it was insane. They were making like $5,000 off of protein shakes a month.
Oh, it's wild. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, and the one thing that really took like just, I wasn't a big fan of. I was actually like, not, I was just like so disappointed is when with one of the managers, the district manager, went to like a 13-year-old kid and said like this kid got a Powerade from like the refrigerator, and he's like, well, we have a deal for two for $3 for two Powerades. And so the kid went to go get another Powerade, but it was already $1.50. So of course it's going to be $3 for
Okay.
two. And I'm like, why? I'm like,
Yeah.
that's such a scumbag move. I'm sorry. It's like,
I mean, that whole industry is based on that, right? Like if you look
mhm,
at something like a Planet Fitness, that's $10 a month. You figure what, 35,000 square foot warehouse, just the rent on that's 20 grand, right?
yeah,
So they need how many, it's at 2,000 members they need just to pay the rent.
mhm,
Imagine if 2,000 people showed up to your gym every day and hammered on the equipment, right?
yeah,
That doesn't even pay anybody. That doesn't make profit. So like the whole model is made for you to not show up,
which is
which
crazy.
yeah, it just that was a huge turnoff for me because I liked the training side of going to the gym, right? Like I liked like one of the coolest things about CrossFit as far as training somebody goes is there's not a single person that goes to my gym that isn't now doing something that day one they were like I could never do that,
Hmm.
right? So and you see that constantly in CrossFit. I mean, it doesn't have to be specifically CrossFit, right? Like obviously I've chosen CrossFit. I think that's the best option, but just actually caring about people and getting them to at least closer to what they want,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love seeing the videos like the first bar muscle ups or first ring
Yeah,
muscle ups and like see all these people like start kicking their legs and like getting super
right,
excited. And like
right,
you don't really see that at a global gym.
right. Yeah. So some of the funniest videos you watch of people lifting is their coaches in the background going like
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
in their head doing the lift with them, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
you get to experience the feeling with them, even if it's not you doing it yourself.
Hmm. Yeah.
And which was really cool about CrossFit in the beginning too, was you'd watch the games and you'd be like, oh, I know exactly how that guy feels right now.
Hmm.
Like, I've done that workout before.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Exactly. So you said you moved back home to work, work with your dad and stuff like that because it didn't
yeah.
work out for LA. So when did you kind of have that feeling like, okay, all right, I think this is the right time to to own a gym.
That was a lot of things kind of all worked out that way. I was actually I was a head coach of a CrossFit gym that was actually doing very well at the time. It was inside of a big box gym though.
Hmm.
And the guy that ran the big box gym just did not have any sort of business sense of what to do with the money. Like the CrossFit was taking in 25 grand a month, I think, something like that at the time, which was pretty good back in 2013.
Yeah.
And he bankrupted the big side of the gym, sold all the members to a different CrossFit gym. And that was my full time job at the time. I was looking for houses. Um, so I just took all the money that I was going to put as a down payment for a house and went out and did it on my own.
Wow.
And that was always the goal, right? It was just
Yeah.
sometimes you just need that push off the ledge, right?
Yeah. Now was Norwood like so Norwood's like right next to the Gillette Stadium. It's like a stone's throw away. So
Yeah.
was that the area you were looking to, start the gym, or you were looking to go to Bridgewater? Like what was kind of like
Um,
the gist of like where you wanted to set a foot in your box?
so it's actually another somewhat, I guess, controversial point, right? So like I talk kind of a lot about the good old days of CrossFit, I think a little bit. Uh, there was respect between gym owners, I think, right? Like where you wouldn't open up next door to somebody else. You just didn't do that.
Mm,
So I looked at the CrossFit affiliate map and you see all the little dots on it. I'm like, where is there a hole, right? Like where can I go that there's going to be enough people to sustain a business that I'm not going to be stepping on anybody else's feet? I really wanted to do my own thing and be able to work with other gyms and have community aspect to it, not just within my own walls, but being able to talk to other gym owners and bounce ideas off each other and maybe do group events with them.
yeah, like a mastermind kind
Yeah, right. Which you can't do if you open up on the same street and try to take their business. So,
of. Yeah.
I mean, people do that now, but that just isn't what I thought was the right thing to do. So I just tried to kind of open up as far away from other gyms as I could, while still giving myself a chance to be successful. And that doesn't mean I wasn't in the same town as another gym. I originally actually opened up in Walpole, and there was another gym there, but Walpole is not a small town, and they're completely on the other side of it. So I was more to Sharon, where you grew up in Sharon, right?
Yeah, yeah, yep.
So I was more kind of pulling from Sharon and Canton in that area. And then the gym that was in Walpole was like in Walpole Center. So they were pulling more from the Medfield side of Walpole.
Hmm.
So everybody listening has no idea what that means, but
That's okay.
it's complete opposite sides of town. One's rural, and then I was more on like the main street. So I was more of like the commuter gym.
Hmm. And so you finally got that gym off of, a major road, Route 1.
Yeah.
So how did you start, since you like when you started the gym, how did you get people like into the door?
It was hard.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
I had 3 members when I opened. So I opened up kind of late in the game, right? So CrossFit, when you in 2000, no, 11, 12, you opened a CrossFit gym and people found you.
Hmm.
By the time I opened in 2015, you really had to pull people in. So initially, I would just go there at 5 in the morning with my, 3 members spread out throughout the whole day and just stay there the whole day and kind of poke my head out the door. Anybody that walked anywhere remotely close, and hey, do you want to try some CrossFit? Nope, all set. Um, but I went like businesses. It's on a major route. It's called the Auto Mile. So there's a lot of car dealerships. So I would go into all the car dealerships, hand out flyers. I went to the police station, fire station. I did a lot of Facebook. Facebook worked a lot better back then as far as Facebook marketing. There wasn't a ton of that going around. It was somewhat newer.
Yeah.
So I got some people in there. There was this thing that Tommy Hackenbrook, I don't know if you remember him,
Yep.
from Utah. He had this thing called the 6-week challenge that would like get people to come into your gym, and then you get like 20 or 30 people and hope to keep 10 of them. And then once you get, it was really hard to get the first like 30. And then once you get 30, then that kind of starts to roll a little bit. It's like this conundrum where somebody would come into your gym and there'd be 2 other people there, and they're like, well, this is lame, right? Because CrossFit's more about the community aspect. And then they'd leave, and then the next person would come in and be like, oh, there's only 2 people here. I'm like, yeah, but if you stay, then the next person will be 4, right?
Yep.
So it just took getting some momentum, and then you get little roadblocks along the way. I was coaching every single class myself, so I was there at 5:30 in the morning till 8 at night, Monday through Friday, another 5 or 6 hours on Saturday. And I didn't want to not ever be there, right? So I wouldn't like leave in the middle of the day because somebody might come in and ask me a question about the gym, and I didn't want to miss that
Hmm.
chance.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of burnout, but once I got rolling, once I got to 50, 60 members, then it started to really pick up.
Nice. Okay.
And then it kind of rolled. And then everybody brings their friends from there. So
Yeah. So you said, I kind of want to talk about like the business and social aspect too of, owning a gym. So you said you were there from like 5:30 a.m. to like 8 p.m.
yeah.
And like, so, how did you manage like kind of like a social life as well as, not getting burnt? I know you said you got a little burnt out, but like, how did you kind of, you know, prevent yourself from like not quitting and just, keep on going?
Well, I didn't have a social life. Like my social life was just talking to people while they're in the gym, which was, not great for me, but good for the business because then I ended up with a personal relationship with everybody, right? Like I
Yeah.
knew everybody, I knew what everybody did for work. I knew their kids' names. I knew everybody's weights, right? Like somebody would come in and they'd be like, oh, we're doing back squats today. We're at 60%. What is that? And I was like, well, last time you did 185, so you'll do this. Like, how do you know that? I'm like, I don't know, because this is all I'm doing, right? I have
Yeah.
other stuff to put in my head. So I remember, 60 people's back squat PRs and stuff like that.
That's impressive. That's really impressive.
Yeah. I have one of those, I remember a lot of information and not all of it's useful, but it stays in there.
Yeah, I'm a wealth of just useless knowledge. Like I'll remember the most like random stuff when it comes to like my family and stuff. Like my wife will ask it like, "Oh, like, who's this person?" Or like I'm like, I don't remember. But
Yeah.
I'll know like what like she had for breakfast like a month ago.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
just
I'm very
like
similar in that.
yeah.
Um, she likes it and hates it at the same time.
Mhm.
Like, no, you said this. And she's like, no, I did not. I'm like, I'm positive you were wearing this shirt. You sat on that edge of the couch, and this is what you said. And then other days, she's like, oh, remember I told you about this? I'm like, you never said that to me. Like, absolutely did. I just heard her laugh from the other room.
Yeah. So, even with having, were you with her the whole time of you
No,
owning the gym?
we met in 2018. So
Okay.
I was going it alone for a little while there.
Okay.
I didn't have
So,
time for it, like it just wouldn't have been fair to anybody.
yeah, you don't date anybody that's actually in your gym too.
No, nope. No crap or you eat, right?
Yeah. So did you have like any part of, your training that you wanted to quit or anything like that? Or just like say like, hey, I really need to find somebody before I lose it?
Yeah, I definitely wanted help, but I also am that like if you want something done right, do it yourself person.
Yep.
So it was really hard to let go a little bit. Um, so I don't know that I ever wanted to quit, but there are definitely times where I wanted to not be there. It's still what I want to do. Like
Hmm.
I don't know. I even like I joke about people about winning the lottery or something like that, and I'm like, I think I would still coach, right? Like I think I wouldn't be married to it, right? I would be able to go on vacations and have a yacht or something like that, but
Yeah.
I think I would still come in and coach a couple classes here and there. I just wouldn't have to, right?
Hmm.
I think there's a big difference between like doing coaching because you like to versus having to coach.
Hmm. No, I agree. So, when you started the gym, you said you were like earlier, you were on to like, you were a big fan of like programming and stuff like that. So what made you like, did you ever have like any thoughts of like, maybe having an outside source to program, or you just, your like main focus was like, okay, I'm programming everything.
I went through a couple phases of that. So I guess I was a little bit of a snob for a little bit, and not saying that my programming is the best. There's definitely people that know their stuff out there, but I more was like everybody has weights, everybody has rubber mats, but your programming is what makes your gym.
Hmm.
So if you're just taking somebody else's programming, then what's your brand, right?
Yeah.
You're just a facilitator, right? Like I give somebody the space and tell them how to do it versus I'm creating what they're doing. But I definitely, that was one of the things, for $50 you can get on comp train or something like that. And, Ben Bergeron's a great coach, so he writes good programming. But I found it wasn't really written for my people. Um, I kind of take ownership of who's in my gym, and I look at how people are progressing and where people are doing well and what they need a little bit more work on. And when I'm writing the programming, I can adapt that to them. Whereas comp train or something like that, while it's a good program on its own, it doesn't really have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
If I'm going to pay somebody else to do programming and then just change it anyway, it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah. You might as well just keep your name, change your name to Comp Train.
Yeah. Or, see if any, like, I'd probably get a ton of business if I did that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not a knock on the programming. It's all good programming. When I was competing, I'd follow other people's programming. I don't like writing for myself because even if you try to write to make yourself better, you still write stuff easier to your strengths, right? Like
Yeah.
you might write like 12 handstand push-ups when somebody else would write you 20. You're like,
Hmm.
12 is enough. I'll do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what is your style of programming?
It's more general physical, like GPP, kind of classic CrossFit. I also my membership is just general people that want to you know, not be fat and not die early, right? So
Hmm.
I write the programming for that person. I'm not trying to send anybody to the games. If you want to go to the games, I can write you programming to get you there. Well, if you're naturally also very good at CrossFit. Um, it doesn't matter how good the programming is. If we're at that point with CrossFit, right? Like these
Yeah.
people that go to the games, they were the best person at CrossFit in their gym their first day. They just
Hmm.
had to learn how to apply it. Um, but for the majority of it, it's just writing workouts to get you stronger, get you moving better, give you some cardiovascular fitness, and just kind of make life easier for you. That's generally how I write it. Um, People go back and forth with the debate of whether you can do strength and conditioning on the same day. But when you're writing for the general population, I found that people don't tend to stick around the gym and like it as much if you're doing a 5x5 back squat today. And
Hmm.
yes, you can make that take an hour if you drill positions and warm up and all that stuff, but did they have fun and did they want to come back tomorrow? And that's kind of how I write it. So it's got to be, I kind of think of fitness as it doesn't matter how good your program is if people don't want to come and do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can make the best, most scientifically advanced program, but if people don't enjoy it, they're not going to stick with it. They do it for 3 weeks. Maybe it was great, but they're
Yeah.
not going to be there 6 months from now.
I've noticed that a lot of people just want to get slammed the whole
Yeah,
time
they do,
and just
right?
get crushed, and then that's it. They don't care about anything else. And I'm like,
Yeah,
I always tell people when I was training, I'm like, you can't get crushed every single day.
you can't, right? I mean, you can for a while.
Well, yeah. Unless you're gonna get hurt, but like, it's like you need to do some strength portions or like some other accessory works like while you're doing this kind of workout too. But like
Yeah.
they don't like that.
So the way I typically like write a week out is Monday through Friday, I write somewhere between 2 to 4 strength days and then 2 to 3 conditioning days. Whereas some days we're doing strength work and a conditioning workout, but generally if we're spending time on strength work, it's something short, right? Like a 5 to 10-minute AMRAP, something along those lines of basic stuff. I'm not going to slam you on strength and then give you heavy weights in the workout.
Yeah.
And then 2 to 3 kind of longer conditioning days, something around 20 to 30 minutes. I try to kind of hit all the energy systems as much as I can. You have an hour, so obviously we're not doing 5Ks and 10Ks and things like that. And also, to my earlier point, that's not fun, right?
No.
You show up at the gym and we're running 10K today, but no, I'm not. See you later. And then Saturdays I do a partner workout, just something fun that it's kind of detached from the week of programming. Obviously, I don't repeat movements or things like that, but the Monday to Friday is kind of the building block. That's where you're working on things and getting better. And then Saturdays, come with a friend and have some fun, enjoy the community. We usually play a fitness game or something like that to warm up. People stick around and chat, and we have open gym after, so people will work on things, trying to get muscle ups, pull ups, that kind of stuff. And then Saturday I do more of a conditioning, Sunday I do more of a conditioning class. So no barbells, just dumbbells, kettlebells, running, jumping, pushing, pulling, that kind of stuff. And then restart the next week.
Dang, no breaks. No breaks.
No, I mean, I encourage people to take, I definitely had members where I'm like, hey, maybe don't come tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I build it in a way too that you could, right? Like it's easier to make the program that if you do come tomorrow, it's easier to have you back off than tell you not to come.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't do heavy deadlifts today and then max your snatch tomorrow, right? I kind of write it so that you could come multiple days in a row. Then I move things around. I find that like some gyms like squat every Monday, right? Like that's their thing, like back squat Monday, which is cool. Or weightlifting Wednesday is a popular one, and probably just because it has the same letter, right? But I feel like, what if you're a person though that works Wednesday nights and you can never make the gym, then you never get to weightlift. So I try to move that stuff around. So if you're like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday person, or a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, you still get a little bit of everything. And then over the course of time, you end up with well-rounded fitness.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly. I loved your workout when I was there a couple of weeks ago. I with that partner workout. So that was really cool. Yeah. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. But, so when did you realize, at that location on Route 1, the auto mile, when did you think like, okay, now I needed to start looking for like a new location you I have too many people coming in?
So the first time was Thanksgiving. So you came to that spot, right? So it was,
No, I wasn't there. So no.
So it was 3,200 square feet, including the bathrooms and office. So the actual gym space, I think it was like 30 by 80.
Yeah, it was almost like an L shape. There was actually because we had like that little spot where like you had the rig, and then in the back you had like 2 power racks, and that was it.
Yeah, so I had like 36 people show up for a Thanksgiving workout. Like I had to change the whole workout. I mean, I was expecting people because we only had one class and everybody likes to get a workout in on Thanksgiving, but I had to like no barbells. I had to do everything, kettlebell. This was before dumbbells were really that relevant in CrossFit. Right? Remember when they threw the dumbbells in the opens and everybody was like, we don't have any dumbbells. And now everybody has them. was funny that that was such a big hole that was exposed. Um, but yeah, that was kind of a, okay, I need some more space in this. It was a combination of that, and I opened up on Route 1 for marketing purposes, right? Like at the time I opened, you couldn't be in a industrial park because nobody was going to find you.
Hmm.
Like you needed exposure. So once I was established, I was 4 years in, so I did 4 years there. And then the other side to it was the landlord wanted more money. So he was like, "Oh, well, you're an established business now, so I can jack your rent up." I'm like, I'll just find somewhere better. And I ended up, this place that I moved to is about triple the size. So I'm about 8,000 square feet now. And it's close enough in price that it was definitely worth it.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
plate. Yeah. So when I was there, I walked because like I was like used to like the smaller one on Route
Yeah.
One,
Oh, yeah.
and then I was like, oh, okay, well, I want to go to your gym. So like, okay, went on the website and I'm like, wait a second, you guys moved, and
Yeah.
so like you're in this like industrial park now, and it's like all brick. It's like an old like mill or something
Yeah.
like
So it
that.
used to be a mill.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I drove to the front because like and they were doing construction. I was like, oh, this must be in here, and I was like, no. So I drove in the back and I saw this like big, you know, this big warehouse and your name on it, and I'm like, holy cow, this guy bought a bigger gym. And then like when I saw you and I walked in, and I was just in awe of how big this place is.
Yeah.
It was unreal,
Well,
and even
yeah.
and even, and even have like a little spot for like weightlifting too, just like
Yeah.
just weightlifting.
Yeah. So we have a USA weightlifting affiliate as well. So we have people that do just straight up Olympic weightlifting. So we have a separate room with a few platforms for them.
Yeah. So what made you actually pick this place compared to anything else?
You mean like that specific location?
Yeah.
I looked around a lot. I mean, there were a lot of elements that went into it as far as what was available, what I could, what I could get into in the right amount of time. I really liked kind of what else was going on in that area.
Hmm.
So they call it the Norwood Space Center. So there's a bunch of they had like a WeWork office, I think that's what it's called, or work bar,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
people like rent a cubicle for the day. So that brings people into there, and there's a brewery in there, and the parking lot's really awesome.
Yeah.
Parking's usually an issue at a lot of these places, right? So,
Hmm.
or where you're going to run. So, we got really fortunate that the parking lot loop is pretty spot on 400 meters.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
So you don't have to go out onto the street or anything. Everybody can stay in the parking lot. Um, I'll have to send you the pictures of this place when I first moved in, because this was a granite countertop manufacturing plant. There were big stone platforms in it, and the bathroom I don't think was cleaned since the 80s.
Oh,
It was disgusting. Yeah, we gutted the whole place and put a lot of money into it, but made it everything it was my chance to build exactly what I wanted for a gym.
yeah. And you did a fantastic job with it.
Mm,
So I can't say that enough.
thank
This
you.
place is so cool. But I forgot to ask this question before. So are there any like Massachusetts laws that like, prohibit you from like going to certain spaces at all? Or like
Yeah, you've got to
what's
be zoned. So there's like mixed use zoning. So that was the other part of it. So when those people, the developers bought that mill building, one of the things they did was they zoned it for fitness use. So
oh,
it already
cool.
had that zoning, which made my life a lot easier. I didn't have to go to town meetings and do all that fun stuff.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, the laws aren't super strict just as long as you have that zoning. And then because I was changing the building, I had to go through all the fire safety and handicap access and all that uh, extra expensive stuff that hopefully I never need to worry about.
Yeah. So how much longer did that process take with all like the dealing with the fire marshal and like the everything else with the town?
It was only a few months. They were pretty good. Nord's very, very business friendly.
Hmm.
Um, so, maybe a few weeks here and there, we had to wait for somebody to come in, but my father is a contractor, like I said before. So I got really lucky with that too. And he knows the building inspector and stuff. So that doesn't hurt, right?
Hmm.
I don't think he actually knew the Nord business inspector until after. Like became friends with him during my project because he had to be in there so much.
Hmm.
Um, but I obviously got some some help with the right subcontractors and things like that, and suppliers for different materials that I needed through my dad's connects, which was helpful.
Yeah, like more barn stall mats and everything. And
Those I got. I'm I very My wife will laugh at this. I'm a very savvy shopper. I like a good discount.
yes.
I'll spend money on stuff, but I'm always like, if I can spend $30 on something, I probably won't spend $40 on it.
Hmm.
So I did a lot of kind of scouring Facebook Marketplace and things for like my equipment. I buy everything brand new, but like stall mats, stuff like that, I buy 20 from a gym closing here and buy 30. I ended up needing, I think I have something like 360 stall mats in my gym. It's one of the most expensive things I bought is the floor. Um, so I just kind of picked up pieces along the way. I had a few months to prepare, so I just got things along the way and then filled in the gaps where I had to. And then once you move into a place like that, so moving from about 3,000 square feet to 8,000 square feet, all the equipment you have looks very limited.
Yep.
Yeah. So then I had to start buying more stuff. I spent a lot of time too. Like I kind of retail therapy for the gym. Like if I want something, you have a bad day and you want to buy something to feel better, I usually buy gym equipment. Or if I'm trying to work out myself, I'm like, I really wish I had another GHD here. I go buy one, right?
Yep. Yep.
So I took most of the money for the first few years and just put it back into buying equipment. So
Okay.
there's very few things that you would come into my gym and need that aren't there. And I kind of used the opportunities. We had a competition back in May, and we had a good turnout for it. And I wanted to do a fun floater, and I've always wanted to buy a yoke, so I bought a yoke. I'm like,
Very
I could
cool.
work somewhere, and I just bought J cups for it, so now it's a squat rack.
Nice. Very cool. Very
Um,
cool.
yeah, so I just kind of put things together along the way and just
Hmm.
keep buying stuff.
Yeah. So when you went to the new gym and you have your clients that were there for the original gym and then they walked into this gym,
Oh,
were they just like in awe the whole time and they're like,
oh
I got to
yeah,
tell my friends to get over here?
yeah. It was a little bit of that. Part of it too is I didn't want to move the gym and expect people to come over. I was very nervous about moving, right? Because I was joking with people at the time. I can move to the other side of the building, and that would be the excuse for some people to drop off, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, no, I can't make it anymore. I actually had a member at the time that he was like, "Oh, I don't think I can make it to the new gym because I won't be able to make it there on time because I come from this street." So I looked up her address, and I'm like, "Well, you're actually 8 minutes from our current location. You're going to be 3 minutes from the new location." And she's like, "Yeah, but I can drive on Route 1, so I can drive faster." I'm like, "That doesn't make any sense."
No, that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
When people look for their way out, when they look for their way out, but I wanted to make sure that it was an upward move, not kind of a lateral or a down move.
Hmm.
So I thought that was my chance. Like, if I make this place nice enough, nobody's leaving, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was part of it. And then now I almost like I laugh sometimes when people come into my gym and I just like see their eyes open. I'm like, "Have you done CrossFit before?" And they're like, "Yes." I'm like, "Where do you go?" And they tell me, and I'm like, "So do you like the gym?" And they're like, "I do." And I'm a little. My wife will laugh again. I'm not like this at home, but at the gym, I'm like clean up every speck of chalk and make
Yep.
sure the wall balls face out and all the stuff. Like I put them
Hmm.
in order.
Yeah. That's your baby.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why. So, when I was there like a couple weeks ago, so you actually have some like pretty fit individuals
Oh yeah.
because I remember it was me and a younger gentleman together for that workout, and then like these like two other girls, like I'm sorry, I shouldn't call them girls, ladies, like with like six pack abs and just like
Yeah,
absolutely like going like head to head with us, and I was like, wow, these you got some like really fit people in here.
I do. Yeah, I have a couple of them that are really good. So one of the ones, she's actually became a Noble model in the last year.
Oh,
So,
cool.
yeah, so Noble actually does their photo shoots in the same complex. So they come into my gym a decent amount. They've done some cool stuff in there. So I've had a couple games athletes come in for that. Mac Jones was in there a few weeks ago.
Oh, really cool.
I wasn't allowed to take pictures of him or anything like that, but he was in there.
Hmm.
You can
That's
see
cool.
like my rig. You'll recognize it if you see some of their ads. You'll see my rig in the background. Um, and then this other woman that I have is unbelievable. She does just the most crushing workouts, and after she's like, "That was fun." Like, I don't know what is wrong with. I don't know if it's wrong with you or what. I'm like, you just beat everybody by 4 rounds on a 15-minute workout, and you're smiling right now, which
Yeah.
means you could have beaten them by 5, which is kind of crazy. She's one of those people that, like, I think, if she wasn't a mom and a full-time worker and that stuff and had the time to devote to it, it was probably pretty close to a games level athlete.
Yeah. So
And
do
she's in
do
her late 30s.
yeah. So do any of your like members? I know you said earlier like that you're not really focused on games athletes, but
Yeah.
do any of your members like have any ambitions to do like masters or even make it like to semifinals or anything like that?
Um, so this woman made it to quarterfinals. She makes it to quarterfinals not trying, which is wild,
I
right?
hate those people. I really do hate those people.
Did you do that? Did you do opens this past year?
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest. I mean,
Never a
yeah.
great one.
I mean, granted, like I was doing those workouts at like 5:30 in the morning,
Yeah.
and like
So
yeah, it was
uh,
not really the greatest.
I think she's 38 now. She finished the burpee deadlift workout. And then, but she, without, knocking her at all, it's not her focus.
Hmm.
She comes and she works out, she has a good time, and then she goes home. So there's some skill holes there that if she closed up, she'd probably be there. One of the quarterfinal workouts, I don't remember how it started, but I know it ended with 20 muscle ups or something like that. And it was a 20-minute time cap, and she got to the muscle ups with, I think, 9 minutes left. Like, smoked the first half of the workout, but just doesn't have a muscle up.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So does she want to work on that kind of stuff at all, or she just doesn't?
sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah, if she gets one, she's happy.
yeah.
She did one a few years ago and then just didn't stick with it. And part of it's like I said, I don't program for that, right? So
Hmm.
she's not, and she's very much, a big fish in a small pond at my gym. My gym's not her, right? Like if
Yeah,
she,
yeah,
a CrossFit or an Invictus or something like that, she'd be going against people that would give her a run for her money, where she's beating people by 4 rounds at my gym.
yeah.
Occasionally, like, I'll jump in or something like that and I can push her a little bit, but she's generally just smoking everybody, and everybody just like jaw dropped watching her workout.
Yeah, but it's funny. Like some people just don't want to see those kind of athletes at their gym because
Yeah.
they'll
Well, they
get
scare people, right? Yeah.
yeah, because they get intimidated and they're like, oh, these people are CrossFit Games athletes, and they're saying like, this is the kind of gym I don't want to be involved with.
Right. Yeah, which is part of it. I mean, she's a super sweetheart too, which is helpful,
Hmm.
because usually people will talk to her first, and she's built, right? You can tell that she's strong when you first see her. But then she's never not smiling and having a good time either.
Hmm.
And she wants you to do well. Like, if you beat her, she's like, "Oh, rats, you got me." She's not like, "I'm gonna come and kill you," right?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, uh, but yeah, I think that as a business, you really have to decide which way you want to go with that stuff. Um, I don't think there are as many games athletes out there as they are people who just want to be in shape. So I
yeah.
kind of made that, I think, professional decision to go towards that market.
Yep. Yeah.
But
Having games athletes don't make you money.
no, it doesn't. It used to, because people go, "Hey, where did the games athletes go? I'm going to go
Hmm.
there."
Yeah.
Because back, 10 years ago, the people that were doing CrossFit wanted to go to the games.
Hmm.
Now you just do it as, you have drop the kids off at soccer, go get your workout in and go back and pick them up. Right.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
definitely.
it's definitely evolved a lot, which you've had to kind of change your focus too. And there's so many competitors popping up too, and they're kind of all. It's funny. I laugh about it sometimes because there's all these people that don't understand that all of these other things that they're doing because CrossFit's scary are kind of just offshoots of CrossFit, right? Like, Orange Theory got its start by being kind of taking what CrossFit did and making it kind of jazzed up and
Yep.
fancier, right?
Yep.
Um, but
F45, the same thing.
same thing, right? Like, they're all, and then people would do F45 and Orange Theory and be like, "Oh, I could never do CrossFit. That's scary." Or, "CrossFit will get you hurt." And I'm like, "You're doing the same stuff."
Hmm. Yeah.
Or I sometimes I'll take people through a workout. Like they'll take like the Perspire class or something like that, which is more. It seems like a boot camp, and then they finish it. Like you realize you were just doing CrossFit, right? Like that's
Hmm.
the same as what one of the workouts were. You just did a dumbbell instead of a barbell.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. I do. So when I was personal training people, I wouldn't even tell them they're doing CrossFit. I would pretty much tell them like, hey, we're going to do this workout every minute. You're going to do this, or like, you have to do this many rounds and stuff like that. And, they would be like, okay, they're like on the floor. And I'm like, do you realize you just did a CrossFit workout and you were like super scared about CrossFit? And they're like, oh, okay. And like, oh, that wasn't that bad. I'm like, yeah, everyone sees like the epic fail moments for like CrossFit and stuff like that, and then that's how they get scared. And so I was like, okay, well,
well, I see,
it's not like that.
I see it go the other way too, where I see a lot of personal trainers who badmouth CrossFit, and I watch them train people. I'm like, you're having them do thrusters and pull-ups, right? Like you're having them do Fran. Like you're doing CrossFit with your athlete, like your client, while you tell them CrossFit's bad for them.
Hmm.
Um, I also try to, when people come in, everybody's apprehensive about trying new things. I try to explain people like working out at a CrossFit gym and thinking you're going to get hurt is like watching, because you watch the CrossFit games, right? People watch the CrossFit games and like, I could never do that. Like, I'll get hurt if I do that stuff. I'm
Hmm.
like, you wouldn't watch the NFL, and if somebody threw a ball to you in their backyard, you wouldn't go, no, I can't do that. And NFL players get hurt, right?
Yep.
It's just a different intensity level. CrossFit like genuinely is for everybody.
Yeah.
Um, like both my parents do CrossFit. They're both, in their mid to late 60s. I have members from 17 years. Well, actually, I train a couple 10-year-olds now. So I have members from 10 all the way up to, I think my oldest member is 74 right now.
Nice. Very cool.
So it's a very diverse group of people. And the 74-year-old is so good. And like she does pull-ups, she deadlifts like 180. It's wild. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Um,
Yeah. So
yeah.
how many people do you have in your gym now?
I have like 120.
Dang, that's insane. Good for
Yeah.
you.
Wouldn't mind more.
Well, of course. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know. I'm at that kind of inflection point where I know everybody that goes to my gym right now. And I'm
Hmm.
starting to get to the point where like I still do all the foundations and that. I feel the point coming where I'm gonna come into my gym and not recognize somebody though, you know,
Yep.
which is kind of the moment you switch to now I own a business versus I work at a CrossFit gym, right?
Yep.
Um, so I'm kind of on that line right now where I think I want to go there.
Hmm.
I also like knowing everybody and having a feel on like I can feel the vibe of my gym change and shift, so I can respond to it, which I think is good. Um, I get a kick anytime somebody comes in. They're like, "Hey, I'm so and so. I'm new here," and I'm like, "I know. I'm like, I've never been here before." I'm like, "I know that.
Yeah.
If you had been, I would have met you by now." Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So, do you have like, are you looking to grow like more, have more coaches coach and stuff like that, or like kind of
Yeah, I've
what's
got a
what's
good.
what's the game plan?
So right now I have a good stable of part-time coaches. Like I have a lot of people that I think are great coaches. They all coach 2 classes a week, something like that, two or
Hmm.
three, cover for each other here and there. I'm still doing the majority of it. I'd love to have somebody come in and take a good chunk more. Obviously, as everybody knows right now, the labor market's pretty tough. Um, and if you're somebody that's making 6 figures in your work from home job and can coach a couple CrossFit classes at night, you're not going to leave that 6 figure job to coach 10 classes of CrossFit a week, right?
No.
Um, and I looked into it last year. I'm kind of on that fence of, do I just bite the bullet and pay somebody a decent salary and just eat it for a little bit so I can focus on growing the business a little bit more myself so I'm not in the classes so much? Or do I make the money first and then pay the person? So I started looking at it last year, and I don't know how it is in other states, but in Massachusetts, uh, whatever you pay somebody, about half of that goes back on top in benefits as well. So like if I were to pay somebody like 70,000, it would actually cost me 105,000.
Oof, jeez.
Like between the benefits and paid time off and health insurance, dental, all that, it's all required once they go full time. Employee taxes, all that, so it gets pretty expensive.
Hmm.
So then I'm like, do I do that or do I just keep working and then do it myself. But
Yeah.
at some point, you know,
Can they be considered a 1099?
it's a very gray area.
Okay.
So not somebody that works that much. So every state's different. There's a bunch of rules that go into it with like if they can pick the classes that they coach versus I tell them what classes they coach, and
Hmm.
if they have a uniform or they can wear whatever they want. There's a bunch of rules that go into it that you kind of have to navigate your way through them. But I don't have anybody that really does a lot, right? Everybody just kind of comes and goes as they please and take what they want to take. So that helps.
Yeah,
That
that's good.
aspect of it. It doesn't help me have a flourishing outside of the gym life, but it helps with the tax side of it, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, so we're getting close to the end. So I have a couple like rapid fire questions, but they're not
Sure.
really rapid fire. They're like pretty slow. But what are your goals for the rest of the year for the gym? Or personal?
Well, so a big goal. I just started a supplement company. So
Oh, cool. I should have talked about that. I had no idea.
oh yeah, I'm not trying to plug it. I just started out. So I just got the email today that my pre-workout is in production. So that's pretty cool. It's actually an Atlanta-based company that's producing it for me.
Oh, cool.
So I don't know if they actually, I think they're in like Dinwiddie or something like that.
Dunwoody.
Dunwoody, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's on the outskirts. So the way it works is Atlanta is like surrounded by this like big circle, so they call it the perimeter, and that's like 285. So it's Dunwoody's like north of the perimeter. So there's like probably like the next town up
Yeah.
off of the perimeter.
Okay. Yeah. So that's going to be coming in the next, month or two once I get that. Starting small, just with a pre-workout, going to see how that goes. I found like I told you I worked at GNC when I was like in college, and I worked in Bridgewater, which was a very small town, and it was
Hmm.
a college town. But when college wasn't there, nobody was. So I spent a lot of time reading the labels and information on the back of the supplements. I'm sitting in a store for like 7 hours and see five people. I would just read everything. So I got really into that side of things. Um, so I was looking for a pre-workout recently, and I found that all the good pre-workouts, they ended up changing all the ingredients as they got more popular. So then they
Hmm.
stopped working as well. So I just started buying kind of raw ingredients and mix them together and making my own, and found the formula that I liked. I was like, I should just make this and then sell it and just sell a good product. So we'll start with that and see where that goes. That might be my ticket out, right?
Yeah, yeah. So actually it's funny thing you talk about supplements. So I was listening to a podcast with the guys from Ghost Lifestyle.
Yeah.
So they actually they don't write the proprietary blend on their supplement label. They actually write down like every single
Yeah, so that's how mine is,
supplement.
right?
Okay.
So mine says exact. So I started reading, like I'm not a real like super into school person, but I really like to learn things.
Hmm.
So I'm that person that goes into a Google rabbit hole, and by 3 a.m. I know who founded Mountain Dew. And, I don't know how I got there, but I end up there. Um, so I started reading the actual clinical trials of all the ingredients that are popping up in these pre-workouts. And I don't know if you know what beta alanine is.
Hmm.
So that's a really popular endurance thing. So Matt Frazier bragged about like that was the thing that he was taking, that
Yep.
he said he felt like it gave him a third lung. But the clinical trials, it was a 28-day clinical trial, I believe, and it was, I think, 3.5 grams a day over that 28-day period increased your endurance exponentially. But then you see these supplements that have like 500 milligrams of it in there. So I'm reading all these labels, and they have all the flashy ingredients, but not enough of any of it to actually do anything.
Hmm.
So you look at the label, and you're like, oh, it's got beta alanine, it's got agmatine, it's got glycerol, like all this stuff that you'll get into at some point, but not enough to actually do anything. So I wanted to make a supplement that had enough to do everything and actually work. Kind of goes with how I felt about fitness, right? Like I
Yep.
don't just sell you a box of nothing. I want you to actually get something out of what you're buying. So
Yeah.
I'm
Very
going to
cool.
try to apply that to supplements, and hopefully it's profitable too, right? I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a reason all these companies start to cut out the expensive ingredients, right?
Yeah. So are you looking to is it like CrossFit like legal? Like, is it like
Yeah,
WADA approved.
there's no banned substances or anything like that in it. It has to go through. This is something that I'm learning about as I go. Obviously, this was an idea I had, and then I started going down the rabbit hole with it, and I'm learning about, the tests and procedures that have to be done, and certificate of analysis, and all this extra expenses that come
Hmm.
up along the way. And where you get there, and I'm like, I didn't know any of this stuff had to be done. Like a 5-day microbial test that has to be done on the batch to make sure
Hmm.
there's no bacteria in it and things like that. Um, so yeah, I want something that kind of anybody can take. I'm not going to gear it specifically towards CrossFit. I think that there's obviously a niche that I know pretty well in there, but it's something that anybody could use.
Yeah.
Um,
So what about the gym? Are you looking to like expand it, or like you looking to buy new things?
yeah, I would love to. So I think once I get to the point where I can have a general manager is when I would maybe move on, open another gym, or probably the thing that probably makes the most sense is acquiring another gym that is doing okay, not great, that I think I can put better systems into.
Hmm.
Something with a membership base. Just kind of finding the right opportunity. I've looked at a few. I bounce around with ideas if I want to buy something close that I could drive back and forth to, or if I want to, buy something in South Carolina and have, some fun with it.
Yeah.
And
Be like a snowbird down in South
yeah,
Carolina.
right. I could do a couple months up here, go there for the weekend, check in on the gym, but you got to have the right team. I'm still kind of searching for the right person that I can kind of let my business go. It's my baby, like you said, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
you just give that over to somebody. I don't want to leave. And I've had some members for 7 years, right? 6, 7 years, a decent amount, actually. I probably have 20 to 30 of my members have been with me at least 3 or 4 years. So I don't want to do them wrong by leaving them in the wrong hands.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, understandable. Next question. What is your favorite book?
Favorite book? Twilight.
It,
I did read them. I'm not going to lie. Um, I'm not, like I said, I'm not like a huge book reader. I read a lot of information. I read a book that I thought was really good business wise called The Pumpkin Plan.
okay.
I don't remember the guy that wrote it, but kind of the whole principle of it is when people grow these like massive prize pumpkins, what they do is they plant their pumpkin seeds, and then whichever pumpkins aren't growing, they pull them off the vine and they focus on the best ones.
Hmm.
So the principle is that you should target your business towards those big pumpkins, right?
Okay.
And obviously, those pumpkins are your good members, right? Those are the ones that come in, they don't complain, they like you like them, you enjoy training them. And when you put all of your energy into training those people and taking care of them and making sure they're happy, you attract more people like them.
Hmm.
So then your business is geared towards that person versus trying to make sure that all the pumpkins survive and not really giving any one of them what it really needs to thrive.
Okay.
I thought that was a really good principle that I was able to apply. And now I like pretty much everybody that I get to work with. So,
Okay. Awesome. That's a good book.
yeah.
I've never even heard of that one before.
Yeah. It's Mike McAllowitz, actually, I think is the name of the guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Next question. What is in your gym bag?
My gym bag is on the floor in my office because I never actually need a gym bag anymore because I
Yeah.
have
True.
that I'm never out of. I think I have 2 jump ropes because double unders are my favorite. I made it a point when I was I realized that if you get good at double unders, you will win every double under workout,
Hmm.
no matter what else is in there, because people trip over their ropes a lot.
Yep.
So I like double unders. So I have this again faster rope that I bought in like 2016. No, sorry. I bought it in like 2013 probably, that they don't even make anymore. And I just like keep it in a bag and protect it. I just like the feel of it. It's just
Yep.
perfect.
Awesome.
I think I have maybe like some wrist wraps, but like I said, I don't really use a gym bag, so I just have my stuff's kind of just thrown all over the place at the gym.
Yeah. Well, I kind of figured that. So I was like, I don't know if this
Yeah,
is gonna be a good one.
yeah, no. I have some Ray-Ban knee sleeves. I need those.
Yeah. So, I've had Ray-Ban, the Ray-Ban knee sleeves for a while, like not a while, but like every time I use them, like the seams always like burst, like blow up.
I don't know what. So I have a pair of the like blue 7 millimeter ones
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I bought them in 2013 or 14. I still have the same pair. They're awesome. I don't know what they do with them now, but they were great back then. They were, I think, like $40 each when I bought them now. So I'm sure they changed their model to,
No, nope, they didn't.
no, they're still that expensive.
Yep.
But they're the thicker ones. I tried getting the thinner, like CrossFit ones, but they just folded up on me. I have a very interestingly shaped leg where I have big quads and tiny calves.
Hmm.
Um, everything just shifts down on me.
All right,
Um,
cool. So, this next question is a little deep. So,
yeah.
let's just say you're lying on your deathbed. It's the last day of you, on this planet. So, how do you want people to know you as?
That's a tough one, right? It's a, I don't know. I think I want people to at least remember me as being generally a good person. Right? I don't think it's possible to say the right thing all the time or be in the right place or all that, but at least know that I tried to be,
Hmm.
you know. Um, like I do like helping, like I do what I do because I like working with people and helping them. Obviously, you don't become rich owning a CrossFit gym. Um, but I enjoy my job and I like being around people and I like the people. Well, I like the people I get to be around. So I guess just that I did my best and I tried to do the right thing.
Okay, cool. I'll take that. I'll
I don't
take
know,
that.
that's kind of lame, but
No, no, trust me. No, that was a good one. So, last and final question. So, where can people like reach out to you? If they have any questions about, your gym and, or anything else, or even like supplements, like how to start a supplement company, where can they reach out to you?
well, starting a supplement company, I'm still working on figuring out that. So I
Well, I
can
mean,
tell
you've
you,
already taken the first couple steps. So,
yeah, I've jumped. Yeah, so I have obviously my gym. I'm just Craig at CrossFitProsperity.com, or I have Instagram. I have three Instagram. Well, I have four, I guess. I have like my personal one, which is at Coach Krabby, CROBBY 0. No, just Coach, like COACH CROBBY. Robbie was my nickname in college, high school sports.
okay.
So C Robbie. People always say Krabby, and they never really get it. Um, but I was C and then Robbie because you did you play football or anything? You're a bigger guy,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah, I did. Yeah.
your coach never wants to say your full last name, right? Just go, Robbie, get out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, mine's Lennon, so
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't abbreviate it. So,
Okay. Yeah, my name was long, so they didn't want to say the whole thing. And then my supplement company is Prosperity Nutrition Co. That's on Instagram. That's new. So it just has one picture of the pre-workout coming soon.
okay. All right. Awesome. Well, I want to thank you for, taking the time because I know you're a very busy individual. So taking the time to, you know, learn more about you and your gym and, now your supplement company, which I had no idea either. So
No, it's new. Yeah, I
yeah.
appreciate you having me on. It was cool to get to do this. I know you've had some people with a lot more followers than me on here. So
Well, I mean, I wanted to get you on because of, from where I seen you the first time to
yeah,
now, which is like amazing because not a lot of gyms are that successful to going from like, a small, like, strip mall to like this big, huge warehouse like that.
yeah, I think just once you kind of figure out that you can do it, like that first, like I said, I opened up with three members, which it was obviously terrifying. Like it was when I was shaking signing the lease for, I think my lease was like 5 grand a month or something, and I had $300 a month coming in.
Hmm.
So it was, but then once you get to the point where you're starting to break even, you're making money, and you're doing it, really opens up your ideas of jumping into new stuff and pushing the boundaries and taking risks. I the supplement company now that I've sold zero. Actually, I have a few pre-sales, so that's going okay so far.
Okay. All right,
Uh,
cool. All right.
yeah,
Well, I would love to have you back on.
yeah,
So, especially with the supplement company, because I'm very fascinated with that kind of stuff. So,
cool.
like I said, thank you for your time, and I do appreciate everything, that I've, let me go into your gym twice, And I know I still have your t-shirt too.
Yeah. No, I got to get that from you. I told you I have a buddy of mine that's type 1.
Yeah.
So I was going to pass it on to him. Yeah, anytime you're up here, you're more than welcome.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.